Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a book haul and oh boy is it a big one. I think this might be the biggest book haul I have ever filmed in my life. There is over 50 books, around 50 books here. And I'm gonna walk through them pretty quickly, but maybe I expect this to be a longer video. Just a note, this is probably not everything that I've collected in the past couple of months, but it is a lot of like what sprang to mind about the books I'm excited to talk about that are new in my collection. And also I'm not including any special edition book subscriptions I've had in the past 2 months. There are some special editions in here, but they're either like pre-orders or one-off sets. They're not from a subscription box. Just because I'm always scared of showing them too soon to them having come out, so I don't want to include them in the haul just in case. Without further ado, I'm diving straight in today just because there is so much to get through, and this is going to be in a completely random order because there's no rhyme or reason to the stack of books that is next to me. I haven't set them up in a specific way. I'm just going to jump in. Having said that, let's start with actually the book I've been the most excited to receive over the past 2 months. And I didn't even know they were doing these, but it is a hardback proof copy of Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood. This is actually my favourite Ali Hazelwood book of all time. This was originally released last year as a audiobook exclusive. I think it was a Spotify one. This one is easily my favourite Ali Hazelwood book. I love a lot of her stuff. Pretty much all of her stuff is a 5-star for me. In fact, I think all of it is. Maybe there's 1 or 2 4-stars in there maybe. But there was just something so heartwarming and addictive about this short story in particular. I had no clue they were doing hardback proofs. I feel quite lucky that I've got a couple of these in my collection now. I've received the past few releases as beautiful hardback proofs, so this is just going straight into my collection. But I had to start with this. How could I not start with this? And there's only 100 of these, so I am like extra excited. I'm definitely going to have to give it a reread because I did listen to it literally when it came out, so it has been a while. I'll be diving back into this, I think, in physical format. Along the similar lines, I actually did pick up a standard paperback edition of Two Can Play now that it is out in physical format. I don't really collect the standard paperbacks of Ali Hazelwood just because I've been collecting the Afterlight editions and the proofs, but I haven't seen an Afterlight edition and I didn't think they were doing proofs of this, so I'm really happy I went and picked this up. It is a super cute cover. If you haven't read this one, if you're a gamer girly, like anything, Ali Hazelwood fan, a romance fan, I genuinely think you will adore this one. I had a lovely weekend with my friends. We all went into Waterstones, we all spotted this, every single one of us picked it up. I think we've picked it up like maybe the first week or 2 of it being out. I think this video is coming out a bit later, but just know we were all very excited to get our hands on a physical copy of this book. Next up is a book I ordered because I am seeing nothing but fantastic things about this one online, and this is the indie copy of Daggermouth by H.M. Wolfe. This is a dystopian romance, I believe. If you've been around my channel for a while, you might know that dystopian romance is becoming quickly one of my favourite things to exist. I loved Silver Elite, for example, and To Cage a Wild Bird. I've recently read The Gravewood as well, which is dystopian-esque, and really enjoyed that. So you bet I ran to order this when I saw all the hype about this book. It's actually been picked up before publication by Pan Macmillan, so I don't know how this copy exists, but it does exist and I have my hands on it. They have just announced the UK cover of this, and I think I actually prefer the original, but neither of the covers actually are like exactly screaming to me, so I don't know, who knows, I might change my mind. Actually, are you dystopian? Or are you a military romance? Or are you both? Potentially both. Potentially a bit of both. I couldn't wait until this book actually releases in physical format to read it, so I'm really glad I could get my hands on an indie copy whilst I still could. I do follow the author and I have seen lots of fantastic artwork for this series, so I'm very excited to pick this up. I've been lucky enough to receive a proof copy of one of my most anticipated releases, one of my most anticipated sequels of this year, and that is Broken Dove by Danny Francis. This is another dystopian romance series, kind of like Daggermouth. And Del Rey also very kindly sent over a paperback of book 1 now that book 1 is released in paperback. They've kept it very simple. They've colour swapped it, I think, so they've just changed the black background to a white background, but I really like the way this looks. I loved this last year. It was such a surprise for me and definitely kickstarted my getting back into dystopian era. Broken Dove is scarily ginormous. I don't know how much trauma is in these pages, but I have a feeling there's quite a lot. One of my favourite reads of 2025 was Quicksilver by Kelly Hart, and I have added a new edition of Quicksilver to my collection. This is the Walmart exclusive edition if you're in the US and they still have this. I think it's gorgeous. I haven't seen them do an exclusive edition of book 2, which I'm a little bit sad about to match, but I really like this like white pale colourway of the Quicksilver with all the foiling. This does have beautiful gilded edges as well. If you're wondering how I got this in the UK, I have no help for you. I managed to find somebody in the US who was happy to pick up a copy for me. Has the same artwork as the UK first printing, but I just really enjoy the colourway change on this, and I felt like I had to get my hands on it just in case they did do a matching edition of Brimstone. I have been so lucky the past few weeks. The Twisted Sisters have been sending me all of the book mail. I love the Twisted Sisters. I think if I do another like guide to reading like I did for Helen Scheurer, I should do one on the Twisted Sisters. Quite a few weeks ago, they sent me a beautiful PR box for their new release, Hollow. I have reviewed this. It was one of my top 10 books of last year. They were very kind to send me an ARC copy of this, but I loved it so much. And then they sent me a stunning deluxe edition, I guess. I think, again, this one's only available in the US, but they might have it on their King's Hollow Publishing website. This is indie published, indie printed, so the hardback we can't get in the UK, but it was available in the US. It has this gorgeous kind of metallic finish and beautiful sprayed edges, so I'm so happy they sent me a finished copy. I think there will be a way to get this in the UK, I just don't know how. Check out their website or check out Blackwell's. Those would be my recommendations. And then more recently, they've also sent over a proof copy of the third book in the Sins of the Zodiac series. This is Cindervale. I loved Neverkeep. I haven't read Echo Fort yet because the ending to Neverkeep was so heart-wrenching that I've been a bit scared to dive back in, but it was a 5-star read for me. I've put on my list of things to read in 2026 Echo Fort and Cindervale, so now I can get through to that even sooner that I have the proof in my hands. Ignore how randomly these are stacked behind me. I don't know if you can see these, but I have now a matching ARC copy of book 1, book 2, book 3. And again, they've done a fun colour shift on this where the background is usually black, but they've gone for a white cover, which I love. I'm a big fan of. Whilst we're chatting about some indie books, I have managed to get my hands on the indie copies of the Legacy series by Melissa K. Roharick. I ummed and ahed about getting these because they are being printed differently now. They have the same cover and I think they're the same height and very similar. They just have the publisher logo down here. But I do have some indie copies of the Lady of Darkness series, and I pre-ordered the rest of that series to pick up at a Polycon, and I've pre-ordered the indie series of the new one she's doing, Avon Leia, and I was like, you know what, I loved Lady of Darkness. It was actually as I was reading through Lady of Darkness I decided I had to go and pick these up in the indie copy, so they definitely matched. Although I have a friend who has the Kensington ones and said that they're like a really close match, like pretty much exactly the same, they just have a logo. But I managed to get my hands on the indies, so I picked up A Reign of Shadows and Endings, which is book 1, Storm of Secrets and Sorrow, which is book 2 in the series, Tempest of Wrath and Vengeance, which is book 3, and book 4, Dawn of Chaos and Fury, and this finishes this series. I am going to be diving into this soon. I think I'm taking a bit of a break after the trauma that befell me during reading Lady of Darkness. But I'm really excited. All of Melissa's series, I believe, are interconnected, so I am reading them in the order that they have released. So I finished Lady of Darkness, I'll be diving into the series next, and then I'll go into Avon Leia after that. I've ended up with a bit of a duplicate copy. This is Kissed by the Gods by Katie Rogan. This is the indie version. This is another indie release that has now gone traditionally published. I already have a copy of this book. However, I ordered a signed copy. In fact, my friend Laura ordered a signed copy with some of her stuff for me of the novella, but they didn't send the novella. They accidentally sent book 1, so they have now sent the novella, and they were like, yeah, you know what, just keep the signed copy of book 1. So I've ended up with a duplicate of book 1, but this one's signed. And then the novella that I ordered is Unwritten by the Gods, and this is signed too. I'm really excited to read this fantasy romance series. It definitely seems like something that's very different to anything I've read recently, but I did just mean to pick this one up. It's nice having the extra. I'm just going to give my original copy to a friend. In case you're wondering where you can get these, I don't think they sell them anymore. I ordered this off, or my friend ordered this, I guess, off the author's website just before they went trad pubbed, so there was a bit of time where you could get your hands on these. She was doing them signed, so that's how I got them. Speaking of books I'm super excited to read, the next one is one of my most anticipated releases of 2026 as well, and this is the beautiful proof copy. I can't believe I have this in my hands. This is The Wings That Bind by Briar Bolin. This is book 3 in the Bloodwing Academy series. I am very lucky to have all 3 in the gorgeous shiny proof copies. These are so stunning. I'm a little scared to read this because I had convinced myself it was a trilogy, but it's not. There is a 4th book coming, and I could only guess at the amount of pain I'm going to be at during this book. I love this series. Again, book 1 made it into, and book 2 just collectively made it into my top 10 reads of 2025. Briar Bolin won my A Court Spicy Books Choice Award for the author that was like new to me this year that I've really got behind, and I've just become such a big fan of this series, so I'm super excited to have a copy of book 3 in my hand. It did only come a week or 2 ago, and by the time you watch this video, I think the book is out. It comes out March 10th. I think this video will be posted a little bit after that, but at the moment it's like March 4th. I love what they've done with these proof copies. HQ, you get a 10 out of 10 on the design on these. but one that I'm super duper excited to read and really excited to have in my hands. Another proof copy that I can't believe I have in my hands is The Shadow Prince by Helen Scheurer. This was originally titled Slaying the Shadow Prince. I've already read and loved the original version of this, but I will be giving this a reread now it's been traditionally published. This is in the world of Blood and Steel, or the world of Thesma, which you probably know at this point is like my favourite series pretty much ever. I love what they've done with the proof copies of these, and it's going to look great next to my proof copy of the Ashes of Thesma series, Iron and Embers. But they are super beautiful, and I'm such a big fan of Helen Scheurer. They actually sent this over recently because I'm going to be interviewing Helen Scheurer at one of her UK tour events. So I'm going to go through this and tab it up and get all of my questions ready. And this one is re-releasing in May. Another book I'm so excited to have in my hands. This wasn't a book I was anticipating being this excited for in 2026. It had kind of just fallen off my radar. It was on my radar when it was indie published, and then for a couple of months whilst it was being trad pubbed, I just kind of forgot about it. This book is now out, but I've actually got 2 copies of this book to share with you, so I'll show you the next one after this. This is the incredible hardback gilded proof of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. I think this is the first title by Broken Binding Publishing Division. And I saw Bookish by Tammy raving about this for the longest time, so I had it downloaded on KU, but then this arrived on my doorstep and it has immediately bumped it back up my radar. There's no romance in this one, I believe, just in case you are looking for something with romance, but it does look like an absolutely epic fantasy that I'm so excited to dive into. As I said, I actually pre-ordered a copy of this, so I have 2 copies. This one is the Waterstones exclusive, and she is glorious. I have another proof up next. This I have just finished reading, and this is Book of the Year material. This is genuinely up there, I think, as being in the running for my favourite thing this year. It is just fantastic. I haven't read anything this good in a while. The book is Starside by Alex Aster. I'm probably going to include this in like a god tier fantasy romance reads video coming up soon, so I won't ramble on about it too much. And again, by the time you watch this, this might be out. It is coming out in March. I feel so honoured to have read this before it releases. It is phenomenal. I had such a good time with this. I've never read anything by Alex Aster before, and now I immediately want to read her entire backlog. This was just the most perfect balance of fantasy and romance and hatred and drama and tension and grit and gore and like everything. Just 10 out of 10. 12 out of 10. I would give you infinite stars. Up next is a book that I have not read yet, but I'm seeing all of my friends give this one infinite stars, and that is the Waterstones exclusive of A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann. I know nothing about this other than my friend Laura is obsessed. My experience of this book is I didn't know anything about it, and now suddenly everybody's rating it 5 stars and everybody's screaming about how it's their book of the year and everybody's telling me how good it is and I need to read it immediately. And I might just leave this out of my periphery of my knowledge of like what I know about this. I might just go in not knowing much about it. I feel like I need to experience this in the same way that all of my friends have experienced this. I don't even know if this is a standalone, if it's in a series. I just know it was very popular, and my friend Laura actually, I said to her, there was no Waterstones exclusives in my local Waterstones, but there was near her. I was like, you're gonna have to go pick me up a copy because it's your fault. I want to read this in the first place. I haven't seen any other special editions of this book, I don't think, so I'm glad that I did manage to grab one of these when I could. Another one of my top reads of the year is Half City by Kate Golden. Now, Arcadia very, very kindly sent me over a finished copy for a giveaway that I was doing for a stack of books from Arcadia. I have loved this. If you're an urban fantasy girly, if you enjoyed Shadowhunters growing up or like more recently, and you want that to be adult and like demon hunting-y and like sexy, this one. I need book 2 immediately. And I'm really excited. I've got a couple of copies of this now because it is genuinely one of my best favourite reads of the year so far. Really excited to have a finished copy in my hands too. In a previous video, I've been banging on about Ivy Ophelia. I've actually put both of these books on my 26 books for 2026. They have finally re-released. These are both, this is the US first print edition. It's coming out in the UK under a different publisher, but I wanted the sprayed edges. And then I also picked up Fruits of the Flesh. This is completely unconnected. I realised before I've shown these two and people have been like, oh God, they don't match. Why would they change the covers mid-series? These are separate. This is the Poisoner series. It's going to be 3 books. Book 2, The Arachnid, is being republished soon. I have a matching edition on the way. Fruit of the Flesh is a standalone gothic dark romance. I've just talked about them in tandem because they're the same author. I've never read anything by this author before. My friend Rosie is a huge fan and I'm very excited to dive into these. I'm a little nervous about this one. I'm seeing some interesting reviews coming out. I'm still really optimistic that I'm going to enjoy it. It looks like everything that I do enjoy. But I'm a little scared of you. One of my friends really did not like this and has enjoyed The Poisoner, so I was going to start you next, but I think I'm just going to wait a little bit, wait till I've calmed down, and then I'm going to dive into this. A couple of other US paperbacks that I've picked up recently. These are the Walmart exclusives of Which Order Do You Go In? Your Knife, My Heart, My Blade, Your Back? Yes, I think that's the order. This is a brand new duology in the, what do you call, Dark Forces series. I really enjoyed Leave Me Behind. It was my first proper dark military romance, and I like these. I actually have the proof copies of these. I really need to give them a read, but the covers are usually quite colourful. I actually really just enjoy the black versions, which are from Walmart, and they have the matching black sprayed edges too. The same person that picked me up Quicksilver very kindly managed to pick me up some copies of these as well, so I could add them to my collection. Some more US paperbacks. These ones I got on Blackwell's. This is the Bourbon Boys series. I've been wanting to pick this up now that it's been republished, but I just have at the moment Bourbon and Lies and Bourbon and Secrets. I've just had an email that my book 3 is on the way, so by the time you watch this, my book 3 will probably be here too. These are the Bloom editions, but very specifically the US editions. So they have the like quote and the sprayed edge. They're quite a simple special edition, but I do appreciate how floppy these are. This is small town, kind of darkish romantic suspense. I love romantic suspense. It's one of my favourite subgenres of romance. So definitely Perry's Eden series and Sparrow Falls are two of my favourite romance series of all time. So these look right up my alley. And as soon as I get in that contemporary romance mood, this is what I'm going to be diving into. Next up is a little vintage find. I have been seeing this series everywhere and I've been very excited to dive into this. It definitely looks up my alley. However, I then found out that there was this like US like sprayed edge version that I can't find anywhere. They do just a plain version now, so I think this is a first printing edition where it came with a sprayed edge for a bit and now it's just a plain one. However, I found somebody on Vinted selling it pretty affordably, so I decided to pick it up secondhand, and then I pre-ordered book 2 to match because I can't find a plain edge version of book 2, and I was like, they're gonna have to match, and I think I'm gonna enjoy this. So that is my Vinted find for the month. That is Spellcaster by Jamie and Eve. This next one feels really random, but I actually picked this up with my husband in Waterstones. We have been listening to the audiobook of Project Hail Mary together, but I've been really struggling to listen to audiobooks. We started listening to it on some like long journeys that we were taking and we got a solid 50% of the way through, but then we're just not driving together at the moment, so actually trying to find time to listen to the audiobook together is just not working. So I decided to pick up a physical copy. I'm gonna find where we're up to. We're about halfway through, I think, and then I can finish it or he can finish it, and then we can swap and we can actually talk about it, because at the moment we both want to finish it, but there's just never a time where we can both sit down for hours and listen to the audiobook. I don't feel like listening to audiobooks is necessarily the most social of activities, so I thought if we have the physical copy, then one of us can listen, one of us can read, we can agree where we're going at, or both of us can just read the physical book and we can finally finish this book together, because I am really enjoying it and I'm determined to finish it before the film comes out, and the film's out like really soon. Over the weekend, as I mentioned, I had some friends staying and we decided to do what we always do and go book shopping. I actually picked up a couple of books from the Works. I've not bought anything from the Works in the longest time. My local Works isn't the best, but I do have one that's a little bit further away that's pretty good. So we went in there and I found that they had copies of House of Bane and Blood and City of Mirth and Malice. This one is a dark mafia romance, urban fantasy. So it's dark mafia, but the mafia have magic, and this seems really like something I would love. Again, this is the book I wanted to read when it was indie published and I just never got round to it. Now that it's been traditionally published by Second Sky, it's definitely back on my radar, and this is just a duology. These were such a fantastic price, I couldn't say no to them, so I did snap up both of them. What I actually went into the Works for was to find the sprayed edge versions of First Time Caller and Now Back to You by BK Borison. First Time Caller is one of my favourite contemporary romances of all time. I've always enjoyed BK Borison. I enjoyed Good Spirits. I enjoyed Love Like Farms. This one, however, this is my favourite thing that BK Borison has ever even thought about. I can't remember if they did a version like this when it first released or not. I feel like they did and I just didn't manage to get my hands on it. So I don't know if this is a reprint to match the second one, but either way, they had both of them in. I felt very lucky. I was like, I'm getting both of those and I'm going to pay for them and run before like they realise that they've got what they have, because these are sold out everywhere. I haven't read And Now Back to You yet. I really need to. I really need to. It looks fantastic. Maybe this actually will be my next contemporary romance read. And finally, let's do a bit of a whistle-stop tour of some special editions that have arrived in the past 6 weeks, 2 months or so. These are all one-off purchases or things that I've pre-ordered, etc. We'll go through them, but there's no subscription boxes in this section. First up, and 13 months after ordering it, I finally have my hands on my Lit Haven copy of The Poisoner. As you just saw, I actually just picked up The Poisoner in the traditionally published version. This I literally ordered in February 2025, so it's taken a while to get to me. I do think it's worth it though. It is really, really beautiful. I went with the sprayed edge version. If you don't know, Lit Haven often offer a gilded edge or a plain edge or a sprayed edge, so you can pick what you like. I decided to go for the sprayed edge, and this is a signed copy as well. I'm not usually a slipcase fan. This one is really pretty. I'm not too sure about the little cutout here. The plants cheapen it a little bit, I feel, but I can appreciate the overall effort. I'm happy I have this, and actually for most of these special editions I have done shorts that I'll be uploading that will take a look at these in closer details. If you do want to see that, head over to my page and check out my shorts. Hopefully I've uploaded some by the time you see this. If not, keep an eye out. I'm sure they'll be up soon. I think this is my first ever purchase from Lilac Libraries, but I pre-ordered their edition of Quicksilver when they did it a couple of months back. I am just really happy to have a special edition of this in my hands. As you saw earlier, I have the US Walmart exclusive and I have the Gilded Edges hardbacks, but something that is like completely redesigned. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Even before I read the book, I knew I was going to love this, so I was just like, where is the special edition? Lilac Libraries came through. Here it is. This is really gorgeous. I'm so happy I got this. It is a super duper beautiful special edition. And for my first purchase from Lilac Libraries, I'm really impressed. I think it came excellently packaged. I think the edition is gorgeous. The sprayed edges are beautiful. I like what they've done with the design. I like that it's completely different. I'm very happy I purchased this. It was a little bit more expensive than some other special editions I've got, but I think it was worth every penny. Whilst we're on a blue theme, I also have the Fairy Loot pre-order for Diabound. I love this. I thought I wasn't gonna like this as much as I did. I remember when they revealed this and I was like, oh, it's so beautiful, I really like that. And then it came and I was just like, the next level, shock, gorgeous, stunned. The sprayed edges particularly and the detail on these is so incredible. I'm really, really happy I pre-ordered this. Diabound was a really good read. It didn't quite make my top 10 of last year, but it was definitely close to being in there. And I think as this series starts to come out more, we've got Booktube Furybound around the corner, I'm going to probably love this a lot more. There's so many questions I have that I'm hoping Booktube is going to answer. So super excited to have the special edition. The other wolf book that I have, and I think I love Diabound, but I immediately followed it up by reading The Wolf King. And whilst they're so completely different, they're both wolfy. So in my brain, I have just picked a preference. My preference was for The Wolf King by Lauren Palfreyman. I love The Wolf King and The Night Prince. They were in my top 10 books of last year. And then I saw this completely different Fairy Loot edition. I actually saw the reveal of this a couple of days early at a Wayward event. And as soon as that phone got turned towards me, there's a video of me somewhere gasping. Actually, the first take I swore. It was just so beautiful. And I just wasn't expecting them to do this with it. So I'm really happy that I have a copy of this. I do actually have 2 copies of this just because one came damaged. So they did replace it for me. So this is one that I'm going to find a home for with one of my friends. Before I dive into the final special edition set that I've received, I just want to talk through some random paperbacks that I've picked up this month. From TK Maxx, or actually it was a Home Sense, but same thing. Tourist Season by Bryn Weaver. I haven't yet read Butcher and Blackbird. I'm a little scared to, but I do think it's something I'm going to enjoy. So when I saw that they had Tourist Season in, I think I've taken the price up, but I swear it was like £4 or £5. I was like, well, yeah, you're coming home with me. What do you mean, Home Sense? Tourist Season for £4 or £5. I swear this has only just come out as well. This is a brand new series called the Seasons of Carnage trilogy. If anyone has read the Ruinous Love series and knows whether I need to read that one first or if I can just dive straight in with this, let me know. I don't have a preference, but you know, maybe this one will strike me and I'll just want to pick it up. And then very kindly, the publisher sent me a copy of Unbound by Penelope Bloom. I saw so many of my friends receiving this book and I was like, wait, the FOMO's getting me. What is this? This is a dark academia fantasy romance. I think it's adult, but it looks super juicy and exactly like all the things I love in my dark academia fantasies. So I will be picking this up probably ASAP. As soon as I'm in the mood for some dark academia, I've got this one ready to go. I don't think you can see this behind me. I've actually also recently received my Bookish Box Lady of Darkness set. My boxes arrived broken. They are sending me a replacement, but it's also so heavy. So I'm not going to get it off my shelf, but just as a heads up, I've got a video, it will be on my page already, I'll make sure I upload it soon, that has got a full deep dive into those so you can see them, but that is something that I've also got recently. And then the last thing I want to show you, and again I do have a video where I show you these in more detail, is the gorgeous Lot Library Serpent and Dove collection. Serpent and Dove is one of my favourite series that I've ever read. It is a YA witch and witch hunter, delicious, like French influenced fantasy romance, really good. When I saw they were doing these, I squealed. This series hasn't had a ton of special editions. There was a Fairy Loot set a number of years ago that I do own, but it was back in the day when Fairy Loot didn't have the amount of customizations that they have now, and like publishing quite hadn't caught up with the demand for special editions, I don't think. So seeing these having a full redesign and a sprayed edge and all of the foiling is really, really getting me going. I'll make sure I get the video talking through these uploaded. You'll be able to see them in more detail. I show you all the sprayed edges together and the end pages and everything like that. And just as a reminder, those videos will be over on my shorts section of my YouTube, so go and check that out. I think that's pretty much everything. I need to start making a note, like a cut-off date, and then any post I get after that I need to start making a note. There was over 50, oh no, there is things. There is another 2 sets. Bear with me. You see, this is why I should make a list. These will be really quick to chat through, so not a problem. I picked up the Skyridge Hotshot series. These are the sprayed edge versions. So I have Honor, Fight, and Protect. These are not in the right order, bear with me. Correction, I think I have Fight, Protect, and Honor. I think that's the order in which they come. This is Small Town Firefighter Romance. And again, I actually haven't bought contemporary romance in a really long time, and then it feels like the past 6 weeks, 2 months, there's been quite a few contemporary romances that I've been like, yeah, you're coming home with me. I wonder if it's just because the sun is finally out again. I do generally read more contemporary romance in the summer months. I know it's March, but the sun is out, okay? So maybe my brain is just thinking these are going to be good for when it pipes up. I don't know, I read like small town romance all year round realistically. Clearly something in me has unlocked the contemporary romance bug again, and like that's where I'm wanting to dive into. But I saw these edges and I could not leave them behind. And then now, last but not least, this is the Kingdom of Stars and Shadows series by Holly Renee. I got these from Bookstore. This is the 3 books that are currently out. They're delicious floppy paperbacks. I am seeing the author at a Polycon in a few weeks time. I can't believe it's a few weeks time. And I've actually pre-ordered her Cowboy series, but this series now is traditionally published, so she doesn't have it available on the day. When I saw these and they were a super great price, I decided I was going to grab these and I could take them with me and get them signed. I have since found out there's like a stamped or printed, I think it's a printed digital signature in here, but I think I'm going to take them with me anyway, or maybe put some book plates in here. This series, I did actually read book 1 when it first came out, and I remember really enjoying this. It has since been picked up for traditional publishing, which is why it got pulled off the market and I didn't manage to finish it. But now that I have them all back, I'm going to be diving back into this, I think, this year after I've been to go and meet her. This does have character art and stuff in as well. So happy that these are back on my shelf. I did have an indie copy at one point, but I think I unhauled it when I realised I wasn't going to be able to have a matching set of that series. So at least now I have the new matching set of the series. Okay, now I think that's everything. Yeah, I never do a cut-off date with like, here's when I'm gonna start counting the next books to come in. I kind of just go with the flow, and I sit down to film and I look at my shelves and I go, what's pretty new? Let's pull it all out, let's have a look at it. So that is what all of these books are. There was over 50 there. I think I spoke about them really quickly. Some of my previous book hauls have been a lot longer, but I like a balance. Sometimes I like to sit here and talk about the books and why I picked them up and why I'm excited about them for ages. And I think sometimes you guys just want to know what I'm buying, particularly when it's like 50. You just want to see, what are the books? What 50 books has Becca decided she needs the past 6 weeks to 2 months? Some of these were pre-orders that came through, but still, it feels like there has been a exceptionally large amount of book mail coming to my house recently. I hope that was enjoyable. I always love getting a little insight into what people are excited about, what they're ordering, what their pre-orders are coming in at. I love seeing what new books people are picking up. So hopefully you guys enjoy the same. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you are doing so. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, leave me like a croissant emoji in the comments. Is there a croissant emoji? I think there probably should be. Leave me a croissant emoji in the comments if you're still here. It'll be our little secret. But if you're not subscribed, make sure you're hitting subscribe. I think over 50% of you that are watching these videos regularly are not subscribed yet. What are you doing, guys? Come on, join our family. And make sure to drop a like on the video and tell me in the comments what the last book you received in the mail was. Was it a recent purchase? Was it an impulse purchase? Was it a pre-order from a year ago? Let me know in the comments below. But other than that, I will see you in the next one.